Hi YouTube, this is AAA X-Ray and welcome back to this new episode about Axis and Allies. And today I will start a mini-series on Axis and Allies revised edition for strategy. And there will be two episodes. This first one will be about Allies strategy and the second one will be about the Axis strategy. We're playing on my own custom-made map. And I'm going to reveal a little feature that you might like. Now that is a very convenient feature, don't you think so? Now let's continue with the strategy, but to do that I will take you down to the board. Now when I first started playing this game, I had a lot of difficulty to win as the Allies. And I thought the balance of this game was in favor of the Axis. But later I found out it wasn't. Actually, the balance of this game is in favor of the Allies. And it's all about understanding the basic principles of this game that will help you to make a good strategy. Now what makes the Axis so strong for beginning players? That is two things. That is the out-of-box setup. You start with a lot of units, strong units, a lot of tanks, planes here in Germany. Also on the other side you start with a lot of infantry, ships and planes here in Japan. And you can really hurt the Allies in the first few rounds. Another big advantage for the Axis is the positioning, and with that I mean most of the action takes place in Europe and Asia, the mainland here. Germany is positioned here very well to control this part of the world and to put pressure on Russia. Russia is the weakest ally. Have an income of 24 at the beginning, while Germany already start with an economy of 40. On the other side, Japan start with an economy of 30 and is positioned very well to start pushing into Asia here. So this is about positioning. On the other side, England is not positioned very well. It has its factory here, and from here it's able to attack Europe. But to do that, it needs a fleet. On the other side, its other territories all spread out over the world. Easy to lose. In the United States, positioning is even worse. They are on the edge of the board and it really needs planning to get them into the action. The biggest advantage for the Allies is the economy. The Allies start with the economy of 96 IPC against the 70 IPC of the Axis. So this is a difference of 26 IPC in favor of the Allies. And as long as you are able to keep this positive difference, you will see that the balance of the game will surely shift toward the Allies. And then it's a matter of getting yourself into position to strike the Axis. And basically this game is all about the economy. If you lose your economy, you will lose the game. If you win the economy, you win the game. So over time I developed a plan which works very well for the Allies to crush the Axis. And in this video I will explain you how I do this. And the main objective of this strategy is to take Berlin. And of course you can argue that you can also take Tokyo. And that is true, but I found taking Berlin is easier, and that's why in this video I explain a strategy that is based on taking out Germany first. So on the internet this is also referred to the kill Germany first strategy. On the other hand, you need to protect Moscow. Yeah, you have to keep Moscow alive. That is also your objective. And I want to make a comparison with chess. Moscow is your chess king. Don't lose it, or you will lose the game. Yeah, Berlin is the axis chess king. So you have to go after this. This is your main objective. Now Moscow will take the brunt of the Axis attack. And because of the positioning of the allies, it will take a while before they will relieve Moscow. Therefore the first part of the strategy is to play a smart defense of Russia. And to illustrate how to do this defense, I use a few other pieces of chess. That is the queen, that is a horse, and a pawn. And I will explain how I will use these pieces. First of all, the queen. This represents the main stack of tanks and artillery. And you have to position it well. And I prefer to position it in West Russia as long as possible. And why do I make the comparison with chess? If the queen is standing here, and of course Germany have its own queen, you need to be careful where to put it. If this stack of tanks and artillery is strong enough, then Germany need to be careful where to put it. He cannot just put it, for example, in Karelia, or I will take it. And then Germany will lose its offensive power. Therefore it's important that Russia actually buys a few aggressive units like tanks and artillery. If you only buy infantry, basically you don't have a queen. Now let's illustrate this with a very conservative opening. Yeah, so what will happen? Of course Russia will be first. Yeah, I will move them all into West Russia. At the same time I will take free infantry into Belarusia, and I use the planes to take out, or to help take out Belarusia. Yeah, so in general this will make you lose 2 infantry. Germany will lose this. Yeah, so let's leave you with 1 infantry. On average, Germany here will lose everything, and Russia will lose 2 infantry. It could be a little bit more, but this is more or less average outcome. So that leaves you here with 1 infantry, and normally I move that into here. Then I have here 4 tanks, 2 artillery, and 5 infantry. Now this is representing my queen, but that's not all, because you also have your purchase. So what I like to do is I buy 2 tanks here in Russia, I buy 2 infantry here in the Caucasus, and another 2 artillery also here in the Caucasus. Yeah, and I can also move these 2 infantry here, and of course I have my planes which I like to land here in the Caucasus. Now with positioning my army in those territories like I'm doing here, I effectively dead zone, this territory and this territory. And why is that? Well, Germany can reach here with 7 infantry and 5 tanks. I can reach here with 5 infantry, 2 artillery, 6 tanks and 2 planes. So will be a dicey battle, but I have a very good chance of hitting Germany hard in the first round if Germany put his forces here. Here even less German forces can reach. Here quite a few German forces can reach, but here I have this extra army in Caucasus. So for sure this is dead zoned, this is dead zoned, and this is a little bit iffy. So now you see what I mean with this queen, with this white queen here. It is difficult for the Germans to stand here. It's quite impossible to stand here or here. So you have a big chance that Germany will build up its army here. There's small quantities of infantry that will be left around the border here is represented by this pawn. And so what Russia will do, as long as you have this standoff between the main armies, those territories in between, they can be taken by infantry. So they will go back and forth, and for that we also use this horse, which represents the air force. They can help to take out the German infantry, and of course they can retreat. Now this will cost you quite some infantry, but it will also cost the Germans a lot of infantry. And you will see in combination with the other actions that we will take that it will be quite hard for Germany to keep up with the amount of infantry that he is losing in that way. So for a few rounds you'll be able to have this standoff. After some rounds, probably 3 or 4, you will see that Germany will be able to move forward. So you probably move here or whatever is his preference, and after some time you might be forced to retreat to, for example, the Caucasus. Now when this is happening, that Germany is overpowering Russia and Russia need to retreat, the next action should take place. The second part of this strategy is to open a second front in Europe as soon as possible, and this task is for the UK, because the UK is positioned the best to do that. And we will not do it as it happened in actual history in Western Europe, but my choice is Norway. And I prefer to start doing that in about the second round. Sometimes I would first take some forces with my fleet here and bring it to Algeria, but that really depends on what Germany is doing. If he managed to position all his planes in such a way, for example as I display here, that all his planes can reach sea zone 12, plus probably this sub, if it is still alive. Typically he would take out or help take out this battleship. If this sub survives and all those planes can reach this sea zone, I will not take my fleet here. Yeah, then I'll wait for the US to build up a fleet and to start take back Africa. So, but if this is not the case, so Germany is not playing smart with its planes to that zone, this sea zone, I might come here and put a few forces in Africa to start taking those territories back. Otherwise I'll just focus on taking Norway. And to do that I need a few purchases. So my first purchase will be at least one carrier, maybe a fighter or a transport. At the end I have to buy 2 more transports if I don't lose any transports here, otherwise I have to buy more. So I end up with 4 transports, battleship, a carrier. I'll have my fighters, and if I play smart, that is enough to position myself in sea zone 3. That is here. Move the production facility back with my fighters here, so it can defend itself against most of the Luftwaffe, and then it can start to invade Norway. In order to put my fleet here, I have to take care of one thing, and that is the Baltic fleet of the Germans. So what I prefer to do is I take it out with my air force. First round or second round, if I bought a few more planes. So target is to take this out. If I don't, then it's quite easy for the Germans to dead zone, sea zone free, in combination with this fleet and the Luftwaffe. Now why do I take Norway first? There's a couple of reasons. First reason is it's difficult to defend by Germany. So it is 1 to 3 territories away from the nearest production facility from Germany. At least if I take out this transport here. For example, Western Europe is one space away from the production facility. So it's very easy for Germany to reinforce Western Europe. It's difficult to reinforce Norway. So I can attack it. Most of the time Germany does not bother to take it back. If it does, if it takes, for example, its queen, its tank stack, go here, I'll lose my units there. That is, yeah, it's too bad, but it dispositions Germany as well. Gives Russia the opportunity to move forward in this area. So it's not too bad if that happens. Another thing is, it's worth free IPC going away from Germany and going to the Allies, to the UK. Third reason is, from here the UK can directly help Russia to maintain its income, because it can start trading, for example, Karelia and even Archangel, which is 4 IPC, which is very valuable for Russia. And if every turn the UK helps to liberate those countries, it keeps the Russian economy up. The third objective for the Allies is to secure the income from the Allies. So there's quite a few territories which will be easily lost to the Axis. Take for example Anglo-Egypt, which most of the time is wiped out the first round by the Germans, and after that the territories, for example French Equatorial Africa, Belgian Congo, Italian East Africa, they're easy pickings for the Germans. So this territories easily go to the Germans, as well as Transjordan. A little bit later, or also quite soon, territories like India and Persia will fall to Japan, and Australia, New Zealand probably also will fall to Japan. So that's quite a few IPCs that will swing toward the Axis. And at the start of the game we saw that the Allies have 26 IPC more income than the Axis. If you count up all those territories which I just mentioned, then this will swing the balance to at least equal or even in favor of the Axis. And this should not happen. So immediately from the beginning of the game, the Allies need to take action to take back a few territories. And the first one to take back is Africa. And it's the job of the US to take back those territories. And the reason why it is the job from the US to take back those territories is its positioning. It has its fleet here, and the US should expand its fleet. It can easily move here and take its units and start to do its Operation Torch in Algeria, start the landings and start liberating all those territories. At least the Africa, probably also Transjordan. India and Persia and the territories in the Pacific will be more difficult, especially in this strategy which is focusing on Germany first. Now, as I said, it's quite difficult for the Allies to do something in the Pacific, but there's a few things we can do with the units we have to slow Japan down. And the key in the Pacific is the US fleet at Pearl Harbor. So we like to preserve that. And in order to preserve this fleet, we have to do something, because Japan is before the US in the order of play. So we need to discourage Japan from attacking the fleet. And there's a few ways to do that. First of all, I'll take the UK sub and attack the sub at sea zone 45 from Japan. I'll try to take out this sub. If I take out that sub, there's one less unit which can attack here. Also the UK have this fighter here in sea zone 35, and it can also reach there. 1, 2, 3. So by doing that, we have a good chance that we take out the sub. If we are lucky, we preserve our submarine here. And there's of course also a chance that we miss, and then of course the Japanese sub will submerge, and then we have less luck. So this fighter will land on the carrier at sea zone 52, and that already makes the fleet there much stronger, and Japan will suffer more casualties if it attacks there. Now we also have the other fleet of the UK here, and this destroyer we will use to take out this transport. We really need to take out this transport. If we leave this transport alive, he will threaten immediately India, but it will be a very useful asset for Japan, so we'll take it out. And if Japan is very lucky, he'll take out the destroyer in the process, but yeah, that's not that likely. The most likely outcome is that this destroyer will survive. Then I have this transport, and some people will have other uses with it, but I like to use it simply as a blocker. And by using this as a blocker, the Japanese fleet at sea zone 37 cannot reach here. Yeah, so that means that if Japan wants to take it out, he needs to use its planes or maybe its battleship. And if I want to beef it up, I also send this carrier. So I count on it that I will lose this fleet. But I think it is worth losing this fleet if I preserve this fleet, because most likely it's up to the Japanese player, of course, but he needs to destroy this fleet. So Japan will most likely attack this fleet, or the transport here with the fleet. These fighters might be used to attack China with some infantry, probably those fighters. Then probably use this battleship here, maybe with the remaining planes here. If something survives here, probably I'll try to have a shot at it and then try to land somewhere. So this one could move here. It's just something that Japan might do. Yeah, then with this one, maybe go here. Then Japan purchases some units, so he'll probably have a fleet here. And this will be taken out. This will be taken out, and let's say those are both taken out. So then the board looks like this. Now then it's interesting what the US can do with its fleet. So I'll use these two infantry, put them on the transport together with the battleship, and I will have them attack this territory, and of course I will use all the units here, and then this plane need to go along. So now you have the US fleet here, and it cannot do a whole lot of harm because Japan is much too strong, but it takes away a few options for Japan. For example, Japan likes to send his battleship and maybe a carrier to the Mediterranean, but now he doesn't do it because he feels the threat of this fleet. It's not a big threat, but he have to do something about it. So he probably need to keep his ships around here to defend the money islands here. Also, he cannot just send one carrier and a transport, for example, to go take Australia, because then this fleet will take that part of the fleet. So Japan really need to be careful in how he moves his fleet about, just by this fleet being here. And of course he can scare it away, but then US can move it away one space and maybe later take it back. So in that way US cannot do a whole lot, but he can maybe postpone the moment that Japan will take all those territories like Australia, New Zealand and Hawaii. And that's all part of the strategy to keep the income from the allies up. And if you're really lucky and Japan is not paying attention, you even may be able to take one of the money islands by surprise. Now the last part of the strategy is to position the US in such a way that it can start its landings in Europe. And this is the hardest part of the strategy. Most of the inexperienced players, they fail on this part because it takes planning and time to do this. Now I will tell you step by step how to do this part. So in the first round, or maybe the second round, we invade Algeria. So in the first round we have to purchase some units, at least one carrier. We also have still a destroyer here in Seazone 20, together with the units that we have here. We already making a fleet. I suggest to buy as much transports as you can. The first round what we have is 2 destroyers, a carrier, 4 transports. That's good for an initial push here into Africa. Then you have your initial land units, and they will be chasing the German forces around in Africa to liberate Africa. Probably you need some more ground units to do that. So, but that will be the first few rounds. Every next round from the US, they purchase more ships, and you have to buy a lot of ships to do this. So altogether is another 6. I have 4 here, so that is 10 transports that you have to buy. So you see that will take a few turns before you have a fleet this big. But this is necessary. By the way, this fighter will go on the carrier, and we still have 1 fighter in Western United States, also need to land on the carrier. Yeah, so if you have a fleet like this, then the German Luftwaffe and what is left of any fleet here in the Mediterranean will not attack it, because that is suicide. So this is a fleet you'll build up over time. If your fleet is this big, it's time to move. But a fleet by itself doesn't do anything. What you need to build up is 10 infantry and a whole bunch of artillery and tanks. Yeah, so I have always a few tanks, quite a few of artillery, and 10 infantry, because that is the max that those 10 transports can carry. The other thing that I need to take care of is that my pipeline is full, and I like to use Eastern Canada as my pipeline from my factory here in Eastern United States, or even a factory from Western United States. And this is a very good position on this map, because from here we can pick up any unit here in one turn. Yeah, if we are this far, this will take at least until the 6th round, that you have so many transports and so many infantry, artillery and tanks, and also you filled up your pipeline. Then we can do something. Now, to build up this fleet and to fill up the pipeline, it takes a few turns, probably 6 or 7 turns. Now, the effect that this has on Germany is underestimated. So new players might think that all the time the US is doing nothing, only building up and building up. And if you are a Russian player, you might get angry actually with the US because it's not doing anything. Well, you are really start to hurt under the pressure of Germany. But actually the effect of this build-up is much bigger than you think, because if the US build up 10 infantry here, 8 artillery and 2 tanks, it have its fleet here, it have its plane, can use its bomber, it threatens those territories. So Germany need to make a choice what to do. Either he's going to defend it, these 2 territories, maybe he wants to use it as a blocker, but after 7 turns this sub will die. Same for this, does he want to use it as a blocker, then it will get killed at some point. And after that the soft underbelly of Europe is exposed. If Germany wants to defend it, he have to build up at least 20 infantry here to defend it, plus using fighters or tanks for the defense, same as Western Europe. So those defenses are very costly. We took already Africa away from Germany, we took Norway away, and we are still putting pressure with the UK and Russia here on this border. So Germany is not poor, but it's not that rich. And with all the build-up of infantry here for its defense, it really doesn't have so much forces that go to the Eastern Front, where it is fighting both the UK and Russia. So then you can imagine how precious the infantry of Germany actually is. But after the build-up you have to act, because this first effect of threatening the underbelly will go away. So round 6 or 7 you have to start doing your landings, and you have a choice. That's why you have 10 transports. So you can go either to Western Europe and attack it, or you go to Southern Europe, or even further the Balkans or Ukraine. This decision depends a little bit on what Germany is doing. If it invests so heavily in defense here that it is impregnable, you might want to move your ships more in this direction of the Ukraine, or even Transjordan or this direction to fight against Japan. But if it does so, if this is so strong that's impregnable, that means there's nothing happening at the Eastern Front. So the UK and Russia are pushing. If this defense is heavy but not impregnable, I suggest you do a frontal attack on Western Europe. So you use your 10 transports, you use your build-up of force here, and you do a landing. You use your planes and you'll see what happens. Yeah, so if you don't take it, at least you will thin the defenses of Western Europe. So after the first attack, maybe Germany still think he is okay, because he'll be able to take it back. But it will take you 2 turns. 1 turn, go here, pick up the army that you prepared. Second turn, you attack again with 10 ships, so you land 20 ground units. If any extra IPCs you have to spend, or you're able to spend, you'll buy air units that will support your attack. So every second turn you will do this attack again and again and again. This will thin the defenses, and at some point for sure you will take Western Europe. At the same time, the UK is building up in Norway. It has 4 transports, so every turn it's able to put 8 units into Norway. And if Sea Zone 5 is cleared and the pressure is really going on Germany, then the fleet might move into Sea Zone 5 and land its units directly into Karelia. And if this force of the UK is strong enough, you might land directly in Eastern Europe. In this way you're slowly approaching Germany from 2 sides. The UK from the east and the United States from the west. Now if this is the scenario in Europe, that Germany is going to be crushed between the UK in Eastern Europe and the US in Western Europe, then this is the scenario in Asia, and that is that Japan is on the doorstep of Moscow. And actually the stacks are not representative because it's just an illustration, but at this point we're talking about maybe the 8th round or later. The economy of Japan is huge. Now if you're lucky, then Russia does have all these territories, and that will give him an income of about 23 IPC, and then he will only be buying infantry and stacking infantry. At the meantime, Japan is buying infantry and tanks and artillery and whatever he needs to crush Moscow. And then it's really up to the efficiency of the players who is going to win. If Japan is more efficient and crushes Russia first, then Japan or the Axis have the edge. If the Allies are able to be playing efficient and crush Berlin first, then they are having the edge. And most likely the Axis will give up. But I found if you play the standard out-of-box setup, then most likely the Allies are going to have the edge. So if you have trouble with winning when you're playing the Allies with this game, I suggest you try this strategy, and maybe you want to modify it a little bit that it fits your own style. And yeah, then I'm curious what will happen and what will be your experience. So next video I'll probably make about Axis strategy, or maybe I'll also make a video about kill Japan first strategy. Yeah, we'll see what I have time for. And well, thank you for watching, and see you next time.